Phase Zero Season 3, Episode 46. What if we do it a little different today? I'm your host, Brandon Davis, joined by Jamie Durack.
Good morning, everybody. Whoa, things are happening.
Well, we can't do a 5-minute countdown in peace, people. My goodness gracious. Jenna Anderson.
Hey, everybody. RIPs to our rundown that BD and I spent like half an hour putting together because now a lot of it got thrown out the window.
We got some splaining to do on what that means. We'll get to it in just a second. Aaron Perrine's here.
Man, it would be nice for one time for our show to go and be a thing without being interrupted. But congrats, everybody. Chonky show.
I just want peace. I just want
peace.
That's a Tony Stark moment right there. I just want peace. Be out of a job with peace. And that's true of Phase Zero. We need a little chaos, and we're going to get every once in a while. We have a special guest we will welcome into the show in just a minute. It's a big surprise. Everybody let the suspense build. Let the drums roll. But first, I got to say, the plan was we're going to talk about Madam Web, which we're going to do. And then we're going to run through some MCU news, which we're going to do because there's been some chunky MCU news to discuss. Movies are moving. Things are shaking. It's all happening. And then at the end of the show, we're going to talk about the Marvels and the weekend that it had and think about, we're going to discuss what the hell happened. But actually, we have something else we're going to do today. We're going to talk about that What If trailer that just released. I haven't even watched it yet.
Me neither.
Me neither.
Literally just came out.
I just got this box in the mail this morning. What If? And it's got these dates. I assume this is part of the trailer, but it's like an advent calendar. It's got each day.
That is so cute.
And it showed that What If Season 2 is going to release on December 22nd, a new episode every day until December 30th. Inside, it's just candy, so I won't spare you with an unboxing. I won't bore you with an unboxing. I'm going to save those and eat the candy each day. Absolutely. Okay, our guest is waiting, but I have so much to say. I'm so sorry. Really quickly, I have to thank everybody. We had our single biggest day of downloads ever in Phase Zero. Since launching on January 15th, 2021 with the premiere of WandaVision, on Friday, November 10th, we had more downloads in a single day than we've ever had in the history of the show. Thank you. That is insane. And the MCU is dead, they said. It's been awesome. We also had 2 bonus episodes already go up this week. The writer and director and executive producers of Loki on Monday, Tom Hiddleston yesterday. That was awesome. Thank you so much to everybody for the kind comments. They're really just praising Tom as he should be praised, the best individual ever. We have a special guest announcement that we're going to have in a bonus episode. One of the Marvels is going to be joining us for a bonus episode that's releasing on Friday. I'm going to make you wait for that one. Let's get to today's guest because we're going to talk about Madam Web. And then, actually, you know what? Let's do a What If live reaction first, assuming that trailer's ready to go. But we'll do it with our special guest. You might remember him. Absolute legend in the Phase Zero community. Please welcome back to the show, Neebs.
Yo, what's going on? I miss you guys, man. I feel like I talk to you guys every single day without actually having to talk to you guys because I listen to the podcast all the time. I'm like arguing with you guys at the gym and people are just watching me and going like, what is this crazy guy talking to himself?
Dude, I feel like we've seen each other a couple times since you were on the show at Comic-Cons. I didn't even get to go to New York Comic-Con this year.
I know. There wasn't a lot of stuff there because of the strike, but it was a lot of fun. It was very much like meet people, hang out. I had a good time. I had a good time at the Comic-Con. I bought a lot of stuff. I bought too much stuff, to be honest with you, but it was a lot of fun. And the San Diego one was the same thing, man. I'm glad we got to hang out, and I got to see you drop some big cash on some of these things, man. I was like, yo, Brandon does not go for the cheap stuff. He goes for the nice stuff.
No, it's a blessing and a curse, mostly a curse. But I'll deal with the curse later in life when I have no money left. But for now, I love these things. But dude, thank you for hanging with us. How you been? How's everything going on the podcast and everything?
It's been great, man. Ever since I've been on your podcast, I learned so much from you guys and kind of like based our podcast right after you guys, and like it's been great, man. We've been having a great time, having so many great discussions. I've just been like growing, and it's been a lot of it is for you guys, man. You guys are the blueprint, so that's what I've been following.
Oh, dude, I'll never that on our first ever episode. I said I wanted to like open up opportunities and stuff like that. To hear that it's out, like we've done anything, I don't think we really deserve credit. You're doing it out there. Like you have the skills, you have the tools. It's all you. But thank you for saying that, because I mean I take a lot of pride in helping people, do anything or motivate anybody in any way. So I don't know. I don't know how to react to nice things. I get awkward. But thank you, dude. I'm happy for you. I love seeing your success, dude. And you're just doing stuff that you enjoy. So that's at the end of the day, that's kind of what we all want to do. All right, everybody's here. We got to talk. The What If trailer. I'm gonna wait until Richard tells me we have the What If trailer. So I'm waiting. Like I really want to watch this thing. But I don't think we have it ready yet. So once I know we have it ready, then we'll do the What If trailer. So we'll start with our original plan, which was Madam Web. The Madam Web trailer dropped this morning, which it's definitely a trailer. I think we have this one, but we can. I don't want to listen to it. We can just discuss it. It's available now. It's been out for a couple hours. We've all watched it already. So Madam Web trailer. I'll go last. Aaron, you're top of the screen. Other than me, I'm copping out here. What'd you think?
Well, that looks better than Craven. I said that before we got on this thing. Listen, Jenna, we did it.
Madam Web Hive, rise
Madam
up.
Web Hive. We're the
Madam
only
Web
people.
Sweep.
It's just me and Jenna on an
The
island.
two of us and Richard, because Richard watched the trailer before we started, and he was elated. He was very on board after watching it. So
1,000 years, me and Jenna just hanging out, being like, oh boy, Julie Carpenter finally. Just all these characters, and the suits actually look really cool. When they said this was going to be set in the 2000s, I expected a lot more of like the weird nostalgia baity stuff, but otherwise it just looks like they just channeled the movies from them. I'm not gonna lie, having watched freaking Daredevil and Elektra in such recent succession, I'm like, what happened? Did we replay our episode when we talked about those? But I am super excited. I am excited to see. And there's another part of this that we'll get to later. But Jamie just saw this thing like 4 seconds ago.
It's funny. I had to watch it while the countdown was going, so I did watch the trailer set to our music. Which actually really pumped it up a bit. I have mixed feelings. I'm really struggling. Like, I wish I had watched it earlier, but as you know, I sleep until about 10 minutes before we start the show, so that just wasn't an option for me. Okay, so I've been dancing around this since the casting announcement, and because I try not to be negative, especially against people, especially against women. So I've been really trying to not say this on the show, but there's really no way to get around it now. I'm gonna have to just come out and live my truth and tell you that, like, I'm just not a Dakota Johnson fan. I've never been a Dakota Johnson fan, and I hate saying that, but like, there's just nothing I can do about it in this moment. And so I'm trying to separate myself from that feeling, and it's really hard. It's really difficult for me. But I do have to say, to what Aaron said, this looks like a 2000s movie, and to me, that is a positive, because that's when I was a teenager, and any nostalgia from my teenage years is something I'm so in for. I am so here for the fact that this looks like a little girl gang movie. I love that. I don't think it looks as bad quality-wise as some people are saying. And I am a little worried. It seems like there'll be some Groundhog Daying, and like you're gonna follow Loki. We just did that with Loki. That concerns me. But like I'm gonna be open. I'm gonna set aside my feelings about a certain actor, because that's my own problem, and try to be positive. But I agree with Aaron. It looks better than Craven.
Jenna?
Aaron and I are alone on an island of being excited for this movie, and I'm throwing a party on that island at this point. This movie looks exactly like what I expected it to be, and that is great. I have seen so many comments today and even heard some from some people on this panel of how it looks like it's on the CW. I don't necessarily think that is a bad thing. I think that there is an art to doing a B-level superhero movie. And I think that we kind of forget that, and we kind of forget what that looks like. I, as the staunchest Venom defender on this podcast, always kind of bang that drum. And I think that this looks exactly like the type of movie that I want it to be. It is not going to revolutionize the genre. It is not going to knock my socks off, but it looks like a lot of fun. And I get to see Julia Carpenter in live action, played by one of my favorite like current working actresses, and that is a plus for me. So, and those suits look great, so I'm on board.
It does look a little bit like a movie somewhere between straight to DVD and blockbuster quality. It's not quite that. I don't know if it's intentional B-level movie. I don't think they went into a Spider-Man. I don't know. I'm sorry, Neebs. What do you think?
I didn't hate it as much as everyone else did. I thought it was fun. I do think that like it has a little Final Destination vibes to it, which is my favorite movie of all time when it comes to horror. So I really do like that aspect of it. I feel like if they leaned into a little bit more of the horror aspect, it'd be really, really cool. But like seeing all the Spider Women in their costume is kind of worth the price of admission, man. I think that's super cool. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I thought parts of the trailer looked really cool. Maybe I've just been burned before by Sony movies because I was Morbin time, baby. I saw that trailer and I was like, let's go. And now I'm out here. I've been burned too many times. Fool me 6 times, shame on you. Fool me a 7th. Well, no, I was kind of into it, but then it became that bit of dialogue where she's like, well, that's when my mother was down there researching spiders and she died. And it's just, I don't know. If the exposition dump is packed into the trailer, I'm a little bit worried about the film. I'll go in with an open mind. I hope it's good. I was more excited before I saw the trailer. I thought the trailer kind of landed a little flat for me, but hopefully it's good. Ezekiel Sims, Madam Web, Spider-Girl, Spider-Woman, a lot of this stuff. There's a lot of potential here, and I'm hopeful that it's some sort of connection to Andrew Garfield or something. That'd be cool. Anything from the trailer? Any details we want to talk about in terms of Easter eggs or things you caught or stood out to you?
I'll just do like a quick explainer on the 3 Spider Women that we see, because I know some people aren't as super familiar. So Julia Carpenter is the second Spider Woman. She's also the second Madam Web. So we're kind of tying into, if Cassandra is the first Madam Web, Julia succeeds her. She debuted in Secret Wars and basically was experimented on and given spider powers. And she's great and I love her. Anya is also tied. She's tied to the Spider Society, which if we are getting Ezekiel Sims, that has the potential to be really interesting. And she has been Spider-Girl for a really long time. And then Maddie is actually technically J. Jonah Jameson's niece, and gets her powers through this like weird switcheroo with Norman Osborn. And so she was, I think, the 3rd Spider-Woman. So I just like that we're getting all of these women in this movie. I feel like if this movie was titled Spider-Women, there would be a completely different reaction to it versus Madam Web, but I'm just happy we're getting any of it.
And Maddie Franklin got like power when Norman wanted, and Norman got knowledge, right? So there is obviously like deep connections to Spider-Man characters and villains. So whether or not this will deliver it or is another Sony thing where they're trying to bait you by putting a spider web in the trailer, who knows?
I will say it's a common thing that some of this panel has expressed about all the MCU stuff is that you'd like to see another universe. And the synopsis for this clearly says, in another universe, blah, 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 blah. So there's no, is this the same world as Venom? Is this the same world as Andrew Garfield? You're doing setup for whatever weird Spider-Verse-y thing that they're trying to plan over there in Sony's Spider-Man universe of characters. There we go. That's what they call that thing. I am excited to actually have a spider person actually in one of these things. It might not be Spider-Man, but we are making baby steps towards having the actual hero of the franchise in one of these spin-off movies, which is hysterical because we've been through like what, 3, 4? Yeah, and not a hint, not a thing.
I would like to say, in defense of BD, of like wanting to see other multiverses, like, do we think that this is going to tie into Secret Wars? Because I certainly don't. I think that's what BD means when he wants to see other universes.
I mean, if it makes some money, the least Kevin Feige can
He
do is
will.
like throw one of these characters into Secret Wars. I don't know. I feel like they're gonna need to build up Secret Wars and build up all of the different universes, and that is gonna involve folding some Sony characters into there.
Listen, in variety articles that actually stand up to the test of time, the biggest goers of the movies of the last 10 years is Latin American people. So if Anya needs to probably be in there, her and Miles probably need to be in Secret Wars in some capacity. Just saying.
I just hope the post-credit scene is far less insulting than the one.
Oh, God.
That bar is so low that I feel like
Yes.
anything is gonna be better.
Literally punched
Michael
me in the
Keaton
face.
as Batman. Let's go.
Sure. Sounds great, Jay.
It makes
Ezekiel
just as much
Sims.
sense.
That's what?
Go.
The Ezekiel Sims character, that's a character that basically tried to do like the War Machine recommendation from Endgame, but that's like his whole MO where War Machine was like, what if we just go find baby Thanos? And well, that's kind of what Ezekiel Sims does. Before people turn bad, he tries to kill them. So that seems to be what this movie's about. He thinks these characters are going to turn bad, or they might protect somebody who's going to turn bad, become a threat to him. Listen, it's one trailer. This trailer didn't blow me away. I really did get a feeling from the way it was shot of that early 2000s, but I get that feeling from every Sony Marvel movie. So I think it's cool that they finally were like, well, we're making a movie set when it looks like this movie was filmed. That's interesting. I got like even just the style of filming it just gave, maybe it's because there was practical costumes and we don't get that really anymore. It gave me amazing Spider-Man vibes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a positive. And I love to find those. So, yeah, it's fine. Whatever. Hopefully it's good. We're going to watch it. All right. Anything else about Madam Web before we move on to the other trailer of the day?
Some people in the comments are saying that Marvel Studios posted this trailer. Is that normal?
Ain't no way.
Marvel
Studios?
I would be shocked if that happened.
There's two people in the comments. I want to get a check on that before we even
right,
speculate.
I'm going to the
about
Instagram.
That. Let's see about that.
I did see like Marvel Entertainment posted it on
Yeah,
YouTube.
that's what I
but
thought so
yeah,
too.
I don't think
It's-
Marvel Studios would have.
Marvel
It's
Studios
not on
did
their
not post it on
Instagram.
Twitter.
That's not. Yeah,
Marvel,
I
it
I
was
was about
Marvel
to say, I'm like,
Entertainment.
what?
Yeah,
'Cause-
Marvel Entertainment makes sense. They post everything.
Mm-hmm, they do.
All right. But what Marvel Studios did post was the What If Season 2 trailer. They actually just released a poster for it too, which looks like a lot of fun. But we haven't watched this, so this is going to be the first ever. The number one. Hold on, let's pause this. Hold on.
Ah,
I'm going to tweet that we're doing this real quick.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, great.
Any predictions? Any hopes and dreams before we watch the What If trailer?
I want to see the
I-
new character that we were talking about last week. I want to see her, even just for a little bit. But
While we're waiting, I'll tell you that I got to talk to David Dastmalchian. I always mumble his last name. I can't say it right. At the Buckland Holiday Gala, and I asked if he's lending his voice to this again, and he didn't really tell me that, but he gave me all these things he wants to see Kurt and Veb do, and he says that he wants Veb to be a member of the Fantastic Four in What If, and he wants Kurt to open a barbershop, and it was adorable. He was the sweetest man ever, and I was like, Veb and the Fantastic Four. Insane. Love it. Keep him coming. Give this man a pen.
Well, I love David Dastmalchian, but
he's the
everything
best.
about Quantumania could be,
Well, yeah, what am I going to say to the man? Quantumania is my least favorite Marvel movie? No, I'm going
that's
to
how
say
I start my interviews. That's usually how I start.
And then you get like the giant hook that like pulls you off of the interview. It's just
No,
like,
hell
nope,
no,
you're
I'm
not doing
just
this anymore.
I'm just
No, he
kidding.
was-
Don't do that now.
like, I may not like that movie, but I like Veb is cute, and I just love David.
Yeah.
The first thing he did when he came up to us was he was like, comicbook.com, I love you guys. Like, he was
Yay.
just so nice.
I love David Dastmalchian. He is
Yeah.
a class act and a
He's the
very nice
best.
guy.
Mhm.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna press play on the trailer for us. In 3, 2. We have sound, right? Yeah, let's listen to it too.
This kid puts on quite a show.
We got Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
I have eyes on the target. He does not look all that threatening.
Looks can be deceiving, Your Highness.
Are you sure you do not want any backup?
Ah, I'm great with kids.
You thought the story was over. But it was only just beginning. I don't do sequels. Normally. But things have gotten a little twisted. In the multiverse.
Is that Wanda?
Who is this handsome dog?
I've been looking for you for a long time. Time. Just be careful. I don't think I can bear to narrate what might happen next.
Hey, yo, this looks good.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
All right.
Yo!
Darcy, we got a code red. The Avengers Tower's been overtaken.
On Christmas? What is this, Con Air? No, wait, Under Siege?
Oh,
No.
God.
Oh, that's not it.
Hey, John McClane, focus.
This trailer did not just end with Darcy Lewis and a Die Hard reference. I'm gonna die.
They did that especially for you, Jamie.
And Avengers Tower? Yo, that trailer was great.
Wow.
Wow. Oh my
Like,
gosh.
wow,
I'm
I'm
not gonna lie. I was like, okay, What If's coming, we'll watch it. You know, we all watched season 1. There's parts of it we really liked and parts of it that was like, well, okay. This looks fantastic.
Wow.
Michael,
This makes me want to rewatch season 1.
Yeah.
They recast T'Challa.
They
Or
did.
is that
Is that T'Challa or
yeah,
T'Chaka?
I think that's his dad. I think that's
Oh.
because it looks like this. Because since it looks like that's Peter and Peter's young, it looks like that would be like the Avengers of like the 80s.
Oh, was that
are-
Peter Parker?
No, Peter Quill.
From okay, yes.
Like that's who it looked like, and so it looks because like with Michael Douglas, that looked like a very young Hank Pym. So it looks like it's like Hank and Janet and like all of the Avengers that would have like been operating in the 80s technically, which is cool. This Mad Max stuff looks
Okay.
amazing. I am very
That's
here
so
for
cool.
whatever this is. Oh my gosh.
That looks like
I
the
just-
season 1 episode that didn't end up getting released in season 1 because this is the Gamora and Tony Stark episode that became a Lego set before it was an episode. Grandmaster, Jeff Goldblum. This looks really fun. This is
Is
gonna
that-
be cool.
Is that Marvel who's supposed to be in that?
Mhm.
Captain Marvel. That's great.
Oh,
Ego is back, I think.
Yeah.
Oh wow, this looks good. We got some Shang-Chi stuff. Look at the 10
Hella.
rings in action. I'm here for it.
Ooh.
Oh man, who's that? Was that Odin?
Yeah.
It looked like it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Is that Hulk with a mustache?
Yes.
It
Straight
is.
up.
Yes.
It is.
Hulk
Ah,
watch Top
tattoo it on my body.
Gun. Wow. Okay. Well, a resounding approval. It sounds like from the Phase Zero crew and Neebs. who is
I'm here
today's
for
Phase
the-
Zero crew.
I'm
and
here
the
for
new
the sword
character.
fight.
Yeah.
Woo! All right.
What's
well,
the new
we
character's
are,
name again?
I'm gonna butcher it, but I think it's Kahori.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Killmonger's back. Thanos, the GOAT. Wow, this was a good trailer. Fantastic trailer. So I dare say, by far the best Marvel trailer of the day.
Fair.
Can I just say I like the release strategy. I like doing an episode a day. I think that is a very cool experiment, especially to do with something like this, and especially having lived through the season 1 era where we kind of were like, okay, that was our one Marvel thing for the week. I like that we're getting this all condensed down as opposed to having to stretch it out over half a year.
They really just said, all right, Madam Web, hold our multiversal beer. Like, what? This trailer's... Oh, wait, there it is. There's my precious. There he is, and there's... Come on. Oh!
I guess we can assume that the Christmas one's going to drop on December
Yeah.
25th.
If
Probably.
it doesn't,
That's
If
really
it does.
fun. I think that's really fun. Like, the only thing that's a bummer is like we keep joking, like, oh, podcast every day, and it's like, but it's the holidays.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But
Wait,
also,
you mean-
I love that idea.
You're saying you don't want to hop on to talk about What If every single day while you're out with your family and stuff?
Give me Christmas Day. I will open presents while talking about What If.
Right,
Unboxing live on air.
Yeah.
The guests those days are our families. Special
Yes.
guests. All right, we got to take a quick break. We are running way over time because this What If trailer came out of nowhere and crashed into our universe, and it changed our rundown a bit. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the new MCU release schedule, which is dramatically different from what it was about 20 minutes ago, well, or 2 days ago, but I'm exaggerating. Avengers Kang Dynasty possibly getting quite a few changes.
Oh my God.
There's more. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come right back. Welcome back to Phase Zero, the chonkiest of chonker episodes is chonking on here. This is some chonky news from last week that Jen is about to walk us through, and we got to talk about it.
Yeah, so I was on staff when this broke, and it was fun writing like a half a dozen different articles. So now that the strikes are over, which we probably wouldn't talk about that on a normal episode, but we have so much to talk about. But the actor strike is over. So Disney has announced new release dates for basically every MCU movie that was on track for the next couple of years. So now Deadpool 3 is the only MCU movie that is scheduled to debut in 2024. It will now debut on July 26, 2024, which is during San Diego Comic-Con, which I feel like they're going to have the potential to do something really chaotic and fun with that. I would not be surprised if they did like a premiere at Comic-Con, because this feels like the movie to do that for. And then Captain America 4 is now delayed almost a full year to February 14th, 2025. Thunderbolts is now delayed to July 25th, 2025, and Blade is delayed to November 7th, 2025. So how are we feeling?
My first thought is Blade after Halloween. Why so close after?
What releases the week before?
Good question. I have no idea.
Saw 11.
I don't think Marvel Studios has ever had an October release date. That first weekend in November, that's like Thor: The Dark World came out that weekend. There are other movies that have done that November slot, but I mean the Marvels just now, but that didn't work out so well.
Wasn't it Eternals?
Eternals was early November, right? Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe they just have studies point to that being a good date. I assume there's all sorts of analytics that went into it. But yeah, like, why not just make your R-rated vampire movie drop on Halloween? I think this is, first of all, I think it's great news that they're slowing things down. I do know, and this was reported, I think. But Captain America Brave New World is reworking quite a large chunk of the film. I know there's 3 pieces or something that are big pieces of the film that they're about to reshoot or completely change. I'm not really sure. But again, reshoots are built into the process, something we all freaked out about that Variety article, which I think we're going to talk about in the last part of today's show. But one movie next year seems like a good opportunity to take a look at what has worked, what hasn't worked, and say it's almost a guaranteed success. Let's get stuff set for 2025. And now there's 4 movies set for 2025, though, which I think takes us right back to the same problem, possibly, because Fantastic Four is between Cap 4 and Thunderbolts, but I don't know if anybody agrees with me that 4 movies in 1 year is just going to take us right back to a possibly overload of content.
I feel like Fantastic Four would get delayed, but I don't know.
But
like this is all just so in flux all the time.
It's the Fantastic Four currently has that May date, which we know Marvel loves. So maybe I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe they should get.
What do you think of all this?
I don't know. I really feel like the dates being pushed back, then none of this is going to matter. In a few months, we're going to find all new dates, and it's going to be pointless to even talk about it.
I think that's a factor too in just movie going fatigue. These movies, specifically the superhero movies, keep shifting around a ton. And it's just like, well, the ability to build anticipation isn't the same as it was before. You know. And it's like, okay, Infinity War Part 1, Infinity War Part 2, they're coming, this date, that date. So for 6 years, you're able to look forward to it.
Can I just say, a lot of you have said you wanted to slow down. A lot of people have said, and then there's also Twitter people who are like, oh my God, everything's moving back so far. We are going to figure out what y'all are really about. Because I have no faith. No faith. Why should I? Why would I have faith that human beings after the last 3 years are not going to disappoint me? Are you kidding?
I'm all for sure. No, I think it's great to slow it down.
No, I'm talking about not you, BD. I'm talking about our listenership and the larger Marvel fandom. I have no faith in them. I have no. Why would I have faith? Why? Why would I have faith?
Put it on Twitter.
Why would I do that? I'm like so serious. I like BD sees. He's like, yo, Aaron is like legit serious. I'm like, why would I have faith? We'll check back in on this a month before Deadpool. I think that's when I will check back in on this and see what's going on, because people will be like, we had Echo and that was fun, but like also only Deadpool. And then after Deadpool's over, it's like, I don't know. Me and Jamie just watching the clock to October, hoping that Agatha comes out, just walking back and forth, pacing the rooms like, oh God, Catherine Hahn. She hasn't responded to my text.
I'll say this as somebody who's been one of the champions of slowing down the release. As soon as these things get pushed away, I want them more. So that just goes to show, if you slow it down, you give me a chance to want these things, then it's possibly going to drum up a bit more excitement when they inevitably do arrive. I think 4 movies in 1 year, plus whatever shows they have planned for 2025, could possibly be a lot.
To quote Zemo, but there's never been another Brandon Davis. You are very, very singular, my friend. You are not like them. You built different. I do not think the average person. I could be wrong. We'll see. We gonna find out together.
I will also just say, as a DC fan, I am so used to these gap years. Like, this is par for the course. I am used to, we had like a year where Aquaman was the only DC thing outside of shows that were on the CW. Next year, all we have is Creature Commandos and Joker 2. So it's like, I am used to slowing down if it means that other good things are down like in the pipeline. So
we're just going to have to figure out what the hell we're going to talk about for a year on Phase Zero.
Ranking our ranking episodes.
Oh,
yeah, well, listen, I am finally opening up to the idea of doing an Infinity Saga rankings episode, but I told Jim Viscardi I'll only do it if we're able to do it in person with a live audience. I want to do Infinity Saga rankings with like people there to react in real time. I think it'll be so much fun. I want all 4 of us together. And I want a live audience.
Trying to get us tomatoes thrown at us.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing is, as soon as they walk in the door, we're giving them a bag of tomatoes. I want to do live audience Phase Zeros so bad. I have been pushing for it. We almost were able to do something last week, but it fell apart. Not by our doing, but we tried. All right, Avengers: The Kang Dynasty changes. Joanna Robinson, friend of the show, author of MCU: The Reign of Marvel Studios, says Jeff Loveness is no longer writing Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. Marvel Studios is moving away from Kang. So I'm thinking maybe, she was on the show. If you listen to that episode, it's one of our most listened to episodes in the past couple months, actually, because she was such a fantastic and insightful, awesome guest. But she has pointed out that, sometimes she'll say things and they will get blown out of proportion. They will get reported on as if they were being reported on, when really she sometimes is just making assumptions based on history or based on some things, but without actual, inside information. But also sometimes she does have inside information and she is actually reporting something. It seems like the Jeff Loveness of this all is very good. Let's just read the quote. I heard from someone recently, the screenwriter Jeff Loveness, who wrote Quantumania, was supposed to write the Kang Dynasty. Anyway, it's confirmed. I had it confirmed to me. He's no longer working for Marvel. I asked the person why, and they said the reason why is he was all wrapped up in this Kang storyline, and they are likely going to be moving away from that. So this is now heard as they're moving away from Kang. Obviously, with all the Jonathan Majors things going on, we're all thinking that's the first place your brain goes, is they're just going to try to do that. The Variety report said they're going to shift to Doctor Doom. There's just a little bit of wiggle room for interpretation on this, though, right?
I mean, I don't know. She literally said the words, someone confirmed it to me. It's not like she was just tweeting out theories.
Right.
And she is a good source. So to me, this seems like very likely. I would say we're at like an 85% should believe this.
I fully believe the Jeff Loveness. I was looking at the words and trying to be careful because that Variety report got me all caught up, and that felt like it was kind of like this weirdly timed piece right before the Marvels. But we'll talk about that again and later in the show. We talk about what happened in the Marvels. But I think that she definitely seems to be saying clearly Jeff Loveness is not writing Avengers 5. And that seems to be, she believes, because they're probably moving away from Kang. But that part seems less certain.
Okay.
I also feel like that is just uncertain across the board. Like, even just looking at the Variety article, looking at other conversations that have been had around the situation, it seems like they are looking at different avenues, but they have not fully, like, until they tell us what direction they're heading, we don't really have an idea. I do think Loki season 2, the finale gave them an easy enough out if they want to pivot to something else, but I think that they probably don't even fully know yet. But I do believe what Joanna is saying, and I do believe that there is truth to it. I also do believe, to give her credit, that like a lot of her words get twisted out of proportion.
I love that you have a what if shirt on.
I know. I had a feeling. I had a feeling we were talking about it today. So
I also think, that report said Marvel was, quote, effed based on the Loki finale, a top deal maker who saw the Loki finale. The Loki finale provided a perfect opportunity to either double down on Kang and finish this story, or get completely out of it and never mention Kang again, I feel like.
Yeah.
And just say, well, the TVA wrapped up all the Kangs. It's done. Yeah. That's how I took that. Neebs, what do you think of all this?
I think it's really interesting because I've been reading the Reign of the MCU book, and if you read that, all of this stuff has actually always been happening. Like people writers being changed, directors being changed. We're just more aware of it now, but this has always been par for the course, and I'm not really too worried about it. Whether they do Kang, whether they go to a new person, I think they'll really figure it out. I'm not sweating it.
Yeah.
Looking at Neebs just doing his best Vincent D'Onofrio, like, yo, this stuff happened all the time before now, and now we all care because we spent 3 years locked inside and it became everybody's lives.
Exactly.
Let's go back through that Variety article, shall we? My J school degree that I wasted a bunch of money on tells me we probably should. Okay. They're effed at the end of the Loki finale because I don't know how you go forward without Jonathan Majors. BD just laid out that was wrong, right?
Yes.
Right. The Blade Rider comes out and goes, this whole 4 women life lessons thing doesn't sound right to me at all. Bang. Number 2. Nia DaCosta tells Jake Hamilton, yo, I was involved in post-production. It's just that they pushed the movie 4 times. If you're a baseball player, that's a good average. But for everything else, it's terrible. Those of you who listen and like sports will laugh at that a little bit. Because you can be a 300 batter and be an amazing Hall of Famer. But like for like an F grade on a paper, it's like that. I just, unless it's written by Angelique Jackson, I'm like, man, am I going to read anything else that they put out? I mean, I'm going to have to. Jim Viscardi has my family. Shout out to he who skips. Those of you guys who saw the last episode last week, I'm going to keep calling him that. But yeah, I don't. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We don't know. I mean, to have all this fervor, like Neeb said, before a Comic-Con, before a D23, where they can actually lay out what's going on, is kind of wild to me. And whatever happens, happens. I just hope if you're gonna do Dr. Doom, it ain't been done right on screen yet. It ain't happened yet.
Don't rush that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like Marvel Studios is like conducting their own real life multiverse situation where they have this one ready, but then if something happens in real life, if there's a certain outcome, then they're mapping it for this way. That's where I think we are right now. I think that 2 options are being laid out to see how things turn out in real life. That's what it feels like to me. Where so nobody has the answer yet because they're waiting.
Yeah, I think that's true. It's gonna be a lot of wait and see. I hope they have an epic panel at Comic-Con this summer. I hope they bring a lot of clarity. I hope they're able to. I do think things are going to change, but I don't know what direction that goes. I'm curious about the Kang stuff, but we'll see. All right, we got to keep moving here. We got a lot more to talk about, and not a lot of time to do it.
I hope BD hosts that panel.
Oh, Kevin. Let me host Hall H, brother. I'm just going to start at Kevin.Feige at Marvel Studios, K Feige at Marvel Studios, Kevin F at Marvel Studios. Just send him my headshot every day and be like, I can host your panel.
Sure, that'll work. All right, we got next news is a little bit about ScarJo. Scarlett Johansson seems to believe she isn't coming back as Black Widow. She said on the Today Show, "Oh my, I don't know how that would. Is it a zombie film? I think it was the end, right? She passed. It would be a miracle. I would be a real Marvel miracle. It would be a Marvel, but who knows? First of all, adorable. Second of all, they all lie. They're all liars. Like yeah, zombie, whatever. Like I'm sure she knows as well as everyone that the multiverse is happening. So it's like you can't believe these people. I don't know."
Like someone needs to tell her about all of the different ways characters can get resurrected in comics, because it's not just zombies. Like there are a multitude of ways to bring Natasha back if you chose to do so. It's so interesting to me because I know Feige said this talking to Ash a couple weeks ago of like that ScarJo is still executive producing some project and we still don't know what that is. And that's really interesting to me. So I'm happy she's still involved with the franchise, even if it's not playing Natasha again.
I assume any movie she would appear in, she would also be an executive producer, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think that would have to be true at this point. Neebs, what do you think? ScarJo, the rest of the crew coming back?
I don't see the rest of the crew coming back. The fact that they mentioned zombies, there is a Marvel zombie show coming out, which is TVMA, which I am very, very excited for. But other than that, like I could see her being more involved in a Yelena show or something like that, or a sequel to the movie or something like that. But I don't see the character coming back. No, I think they've been good. I think everyone's happy with the way it ended. It would be weird to bring it all back.
I think it's inevitable.
You say that until you hear that Avengers theme in the third act of Secret Wars. You say that until they're all in a circle and then all of us are crying.
Yeah.
You know?
If it happens in Secret Wars, I'll give that a pass. That'll be fine. Secret Wars is one of those places where it's worth bringing it. Yeah, sure.
All right, let's get to the last couple topics here.
Okay, we've got Taika Waititi talking about not being a part of Thor 5. At the premiere of Next Goal Wins, he talked to Business Insider, and in true Taika Waititi fashion, he just had to make jokes about it. He's like, I know that I won't be involved. I'm going to concentrate on all these other films I've signed on for. He made a joke about being in an open relationship with Marvel, and that's okay. If they ever call me back, I'll crawl back into bed with them, which I absolutely love. So we are going to need another director for Thor 5. At some point here, which is reportedly or whatever in development. How do you guys feel about him not coming back?
It feels like the Coach O of the MCU.
Yeah.
Huh?
Like
it feels like the Coach O of the MCU.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't understand what that means.
Richard's behind the camera right now nodding his head because that means you can win a national championship. And then if you lose some of the tools that got you there and you got a lot of the tools still left and all of a sudden you don't make the playoff, you get fired.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know. Everybody's so quick to forget this man made Thor Ragnarok. It's so cool to hate Thor Love and Thunder. I'm not a huge fan of Thor Love and Thunder. I overreacted to that movie. I thought it was funny, and then I watched it again. I'll never forget. I forget who I was talking to recently. It's like I went and saw Thor Love and Thunder a second time, and I was like, this isn't as funny as I thought it was the first time. I'll never forget sitting next to Richard after gloating about what a good time I had watching that movie. And like I'm at the Opry Mills IMAX. Nobody's laughing. And I'm like, this isn't like I had a better, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was that premiere energy. But he still made Ragnarok, and it is that what have you done for me lately attitude. Very quickly applied.
But that's how movies work. If you don't keep consistently making a good movie, I don't know. Like it's also this, I don't know. I would also make the argument of Taika is attached to half a dozen different projects at any other point in time. Like that man is supposedly doing Akira. He is supposedly doing a Star Wars movie. He's adapting Clara and the Sun. Like he has other things that he is prioritizing. And I'm glad he's prioritizing those things. But I, as someone who loved Ragnarok and who did not like Love and Thunder, I am more than willing to see another director's vision if it means we get something fresh and we get something that has the potential to be good.
I loved Iron Man and didn't love Iron Man 2, and Jon Favreau could direct another movie and I'd support it. But I don't know. We talked about batting averages earlier,
Yeah,
and
50%.
Taika's got a much higher batting average for his
Mhm.
movies than the accuracies we were talking about earlier.
Jamie,
But
your face.
Jay, do it.
Please stop talking about sports. This is a show for people who don't listen to sports. No, I just want to say I think it's really interesting. Like, you know, people didn't love Thor, Love and Thunder, and like the opinion on Taika just changed so drastically, as if he had done something like heinous. And I think it's like, and that's just like how I think being a celebrity works, is that people just like the internet. I see so much hate for Taika sometimes, and I'm like, he didn't. What did he do? Like, yeah, like it's, you know, I think that's wild. But all that, like, I think he's still out there making good stuff. I'm excited to see his next projects. But that being said, I'm also excited for a refresher. If we're getting a Thor 5, we've never had a MCU character get 5 standalone movies. If we're gonna get a 5th one, refresh it completely, a whole new vision. Otherwise, what are we doing? Shang-Chi still doesn't have a sequel. Like, if we're getting a Thor 5, I think it really does need to be fresh blood. Depending, it doesn't matter if Love and Thunder would have been amazing. I still think fresh blood is the way to go.
Bring back Kenneth Branagh. What? Yeah. Go Tigers!
Go Tigers.
Real quick, last thing here before we get to the Marvels. Kevin Wright, in an interview available on Phase Zero podcast and YouTube channel, I asked him, I asked him if there's going to be Loki season 3. He said this is the end of a book. He just hopes to work with the people who he made Loki season 2 with again, because they all had such a good time working together and made something really special together. So I said, oh, well, there you go. Avengers Secret Wars, executive produced by Kevin Wright and directed by Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson. Seems like the writing's on the wall. And what he said was, he thinks those seats are already taken. Now, my tinfoil hat that I love to wear is telling me that means Avengers Secret Wars might already have a director.
I read the quote to mean at least that there's a producer, like the way that we know they kind of like delegate a producer on a particular Marvel project at any other point in time. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a director. I know they probably could have been making those deals during the strikes, but I don't know when we'll find out if they do have one.
Neebs, who are you picking to direct Secret Wars?
I think the biggest twist of all would be if Martin Scorsese. He just comes out of the Marvel movie. What
That
a
man
twist.
would never.
No.
Could you imagine the 7-hour epic it would be, starring Leonardo DiCaprio as Iron Man?
Just cast Leo as Dr. Doom. Problem solved. Just have him
Leo
make that
playing
face that
everybody.
he makes in Flowers Moon.
Leo is playing everyone. Oh my gosh. All right, on that note, we're going to take a quick 1-minute break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Marvels, the box office, what happened this weekend, get Neebs' thoughts, and announce our guest for Friday's bonus episode. So subscribe to the channel right now if you're watching on YouTube and on Twitch. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in a moment. If anybody ever wanted to use that 10-second skip button, it's over that break, huh? That's what normal people do. Oh my gosh, but you can't do that on a live show, Jim Viscardi. People don't forget. All right, we got to talk about the Marvels. We're going to talk about the box office and how maybe that variety piece and everything might have factored into this, and all the factors. But before that, Neebs, I want to get your thoughts on the film. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought the movie was very entertaining. Like, obviously, I do think it has some flaws. I feel like there's a part of the movie on the cutting room floor that we didn't get to see. I feel like there's parts of the villain that's in there that we didn't get to see. I don't 100% agree with the fact that people say the villain was not great. I think the villain had so much potential. They had a great backstory who you could really like understand why they're doing what they're doing. Amazing acting. I think all they needed was an extra 10 minutes of screen time and maybe a Killmonger speech, and it would have been such a great villain. But I do feel like they dropped the ball on that a little bit. But I really think the strikes hurt it quite a bit. And the thing is, when I went to watch it, so many little kids were there. I swear to God, they did not care that the villain didn't have a backstory that they liked. They didn't care about the nuance. They were just cheering and laughing and clapping, and it was so nice. And the cats, the Flurkins, really just stole this movie for the kids because I've never heard. I thought I was watching Cars for the first time because there were so many little kids here laughing. But it has an audience that I think that people, they don't respect the audience that's of the young people. It's not everything has to be for the same people who have been watching this since Iron Man, right? There's other demographics that we could appeal to, and I think this movie does that really well. But unfortunately, it came at a really awkward time with the strike and everything happening. So those are my things for it. But my favorite thing, I know everyone talks about the X-Men thing, but I don't think enough people are talking about the Young Avengers being led by Kamala. I think that's so amazing. That's so cool. And I literally can't wait for it. I would love to see all the Avengers out there fighting Kang, and then Earth being left unprotected, and then who's got to save them, right? The Young Avengers. I could see that being a great movie. So I'm excited for that.
I hope young, like looking at this project now, my confidence in these post-credit scenes paying off. I got dragged for this on Twitter over the weekend, but the line of things of stories that I want to see pay off, which seemingly are destined to pay off and yet to be announced projects. The faith is not exactly strong, but that Young Avengers tease, the reference to Cassie Lang and all that, like they're putting a team together. Yeah, my thoughts on this film also. They went up a little bit. It's certainly not my favorite movie, but I think it is so far. I think I was a little tough on the singing scene, which I still don't like, but it's not enough to say like this makes this a bad film. I never actually said this was a bad film in the first place, and I've never thought that. But I think it's just, for me, it's completely fine. It's not my favorite film. It's in the middle of the multiverse saga. But yeah. Has anybody's opinion changed at all?
Well,
Jamie,
I would like to say I saw it a second time and I liked it even more. It's just so fun. It's so rewatchable. And I love what Neeb said about the kids, because I mean, I talked about this on Twitter and I will stand by this, that like young girls love comic book movies too, and to have one that like is really catered to them, like I said this last week, my friends' daughters are 10 and 13, and to watch them come out of that movie was so joyous. And like to be mad like I'm an adult man and this movie didn't cater just to me is like, well, I'm sorry, you have 27 other movies that cater just to you. And I love stuff like that, and I've already, I already defended the singing scene to death. But seeing it again for a second time, the issues I did have to it, everything Neeb said, villain, like it didn't matter because I was having so much fun, and it's bumming me out that more people aren't seeing it, because I wish that they actually were marketing this as kind of a family friendly film, because I think that then more parents would be taking their kids to see it because it is perfect for them.
I agree. I saw it a second time. I loved it as much, if not even slightly more, because it flowed even more watching it a second time. I think that at the end of the day, for me, the marketing did this movie a huge disservice. I think that it, like, as much as I liked the first couple of trailers, they really didn't show what this movie was. And the subsequent marketing, especially once we folded in more of the male-dominated stuff and more of the scenes of Endgame, it felt like it was trying to cater to everybody and nobody at the same time. I saw the Taylor Swift movie in theaters multiple times. They had a trailer that was cut supposedly specifically for those screenings, and it was so cold and so emotionless and not conveying the tone of this movie at all. And so I think they needed to market this, like Jamie said, for girls, for families, and I think that it would have been a slam dunk. I wish we could give some of the goodwill that we gave Quantumania and some of the other movies. I wish we could give it to the Marvels, because I genuinely think it deserves it.
Yeah, it's quite, like, at a minimum, it's a very fun movie. And I think it's so blatantly overhated for obvious reasons of misogyny and just other. I mean, if you don't like the movie, that's totally fair. One thing to clarify, I'm not here to say that people who genuinely went in and watched the movie and didn't like it are like misogynistic bad people. But there's obviously those people are existing. There are people who are just not giving this movie a chance because they're saying, well, you made a woke movie, so it can't be successful. Guess what's the biggest movie of the year, dipshit?
Barbie.
Can I just say, Jamie, go ahead.
No, Jenna, you go.
I tweeted that watching it a second time, I teared up a couple times because I genuinely did, because the positive emotions and the camaraderie in this movie like made me emotional. And I got replies saying that I needed to be medicated, that I was stupid, like all of the most rampant misogyny possible. I expected it, but it was still very, very crazy to see, because I guarantee you, most of the people who were in my mentions, I got a lot of positivity from people who saw it and had a similar sort of response, but all of the negativity, I don't even think they even saw the movie.
I have never gotten hate like this before for liking a movie in my life. And I liked Rise of Skywalker. And let me tell you, and like that's different because I know that wasn't good, but I still liked it. And I didn't even get that kind of hate. The hate, like people are hating us for liking this. Those people haven't seen it. And I've said this, and I said so clearly, so many times, it's okay if you don't like this movie, and they just don't hear that because like that's not what they're hearing. They're not seeing this movie, and they're just piling. I have a friend who does what we do, and she's like, I've been crying all day because I'm getting death threats because I dared to like this movie, and that's insane. It's like it's crazy. It's upsetting.
But
I don't buy that.
Skywalker. We're gonna have to talk about that after the show, Jamie. We're gonna have to have a
I'm not saying it was good. I'm saying I liked it.
Jamie saw that thing 11 times in theaters. Go
I
ahead.
saw it 6 times in theaters. Calm down. Wow.
I was gonna say that, like, I don't really buy this whole woke movies don't do well, because one of the most woke shows out there is The Boys, and people are too dumb to realize how woke it actually is. Yet the same people who love that show are the ones complaining about it being woke. It's just so wild to me. And there's people saying like, yeah, go ahead.
No, go. Keep going.
I was gonna say there's people saying that like Captain Marvel is this smug, reductive, mean character. I'm like, she's chasing cats in this movie. She's walking around chasing cats. I'm like, oh, are you serious? It's just so funny to me.
Neebs hit the nail on the head in terms of people have now, woke doesn't mean what it used to. It's been stripped down to mean about women or about people of color. And I think the perfect example of that is how people called Obi-Wan Kenobi woke because it starred a black woman, but no one called Andor woke because they're stupid. Because the real definition of woke is what Andor is, but they didn't notice. And like that's why that word is now meaningless. It's like the word literally. It doesn't mean anything anymore.
I to dust off my degree for the second time this episode, like to talk about things that are like concrete. Like this is the movie this year that was probably most affected by the strike not having the stars out in front of it. There's no doubt in my mind that this thing beats Incredible Hulk, it beats Quantumania, it beats some of these other lower tier MCU projects if you just have Aman Vellani being awesome with the cast in front of the commercials. Like there's no doubt in my mind. There's other weird stuff too. I think me and Jenna have talked about to death that study that came out that Barbie is the only thing that people, that and Oppenheimer, the only things people have gone to the theater to see in the last 3 years. Because it was a big event and they made it feel like it was a thing because the internet kind of helped, but also the movies are good, right? And then thirdly, I think there's just a real kind of, there's no benefit of the doubt for these Marvel projects anymore critically. Like we were watching that freaking Rotten Tomatoes thing vacillate like a hawk the last episode, and we ended and it was rotten, and then it was fresh because a couple things rolled back in. Now, should two guys on film be viewed the same as like the New York Times in the aggregator? I am not a software engineer. I just went to school with a lot of them. But we probably need to adjust how we get these movies and feel these movies. The cinema score was like a B, which is along the lines of all these other Phase 4 projects. I think the only things that didn't get a B in cinema score were Wakanda Forever and Guardians. Even Shang-Chi didn't get an A. So I'm like, I don't know if that's it. And it tested super well. I think Jenna's point about not finding its audiences is really crucial too. Because I watched this and Wish last week. Shout out to Jamie. We had a lot of time, fun, like reacting to a fake star. Those two, they're very family centric. They're very cute movies. I'm like, why didn't you guys market this thing to younger kids? I think this thing could have swept. I think we're still in a mode where it's going to do an Elemental, and because nothing else is coming out this year until Wonka, it's just going to be around. like that first weekend of Hunger Games, I'm curious to see what happens because there's a lot of Hunger Games fans, of which my wife is one of them. And she's like, ooh, more. She read Jamie Drax's review on comicbook.com. You should go read that. I think we'll hang around and we'll have to have this conversation again at the end. We're destined to do this dance over and over again, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
The circumstances of this movie's release were so strange. Obviously, the strike is an undeniable factor. If you had Brie Larson, Iman Vellani, Tiana Paris doing the idea we pitched for this, just in case the strike ended, was going to be so fun. And if our idea was fun, there's outlets out there that are almost as good as us. That would have been super fun. And there's also outlets that are far better than some of the concepts I'm sure we came up with. That you would have had the three of them just being a blast, like marketing the hell out of it just by being themselves. And that sells tickets. This is the first Marvel movie to release without the cast doing a press tour. It also, that Variety piece that came out right before it was very strangely timed. I think that it's undeniable that saying that Marvel is in crisis on the cover of Variety certainly makes people be like, well, you know what, then I'll skip this next one. Not everybody, but I'm sure there's a couple people who can see that factor. It releasing the same night as the Loki finale. Loki definitely seems to have overshadowed this. Loki was like fantastic and perfect, and everybody was able to just watch it from home. There was no effort required. So it was easier to just say, well, the Marvel thing I'm going to consume this weekend is just a remote instead of a car ride and a movie ticket. So that right there is an example, whether you want to call it superhero fatigue or just too many options at the same time, and people picked the easier one that they were already right there. I don't know. There was a lot of factors in this one. The Variety article I find just so strange because now that some of that stuff has come out to be either refuted or just proved to be not the case, it's just so strange that dropped right before a movie did. And I don't know. It's interesting. Like Variety is the one they went and spoiled the
Eternals
thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I don't know. Maybe there's something. I don't know. It's an interesting world we live in. I think the Marvel certainly deserved better than the worst MCU box office of all time. It is definitely not the worst MCU movie ever. Like easily, I don't think anybody who has seen the movie with any sort of rational, logical, open-minded approach would feel that. There are like so easily movies that are worse than this. This was better than Captain Marvel. Its predecessor. It's a sequel and it's the better movie alone. So I don't know. And I'm saying that as the person on this panel who liked it the least of everybody too. Like I just thought it was fun. Like at minimum, it's a very fun movie. I'm frustrated. I also, I honestly stopped talking about it because I'll still talk about the movie, but I probably talk about movies more than I talked about this one because the freaking negativity, like the things people say to you for saying something positive about this film on both Facebook and Twitter over the weekend were just exhausting. So it made me like not like it wasn't even I'm not going to talk about this movie. It was I'm just going to put my phone down because I'm getting so frustrated with the fact that if I say something nice, people say awful things. And I was like, dude, I can't respond to people. You're not going to change somebody's mind. You're just going to exhaust yourself. And it makes me feel bad that people are saying such crappy things to me. And maybe that's just a sign of weakness. I don't know. The movie's fun. I'm curious to see how it does in week 2. I don't think it's going to have like an insane drop off because it's at least been discussed enough that curiosity might drive some sales. So we'll see. But the box office is crazy to me. It is a bummer. And I don't think it's just the sign of the quality of this film. I think it's a sign of the state of the MCU, the circumstances leading to this release, and a lot of other things.
I just want to point out that money. Like Mission Impossible 7 had like a 90% plus score. Everyone loved it, and it still didn't make that much money. Like it's just a weird time too. Like it's just an odd time at the box office, and to put everything on the Marvels is just sexist. I think.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like we all saw this coming too. Like for months. Like Marvel fatigue and the conversation around Marvel has changed. It is now like much cooler it's that comment, this show is still on, that used to follow every article and tweet about The Walking Dead. It's become cool to say that about Marvel. It is what it is. It's still cool to like Marvel. Obviously, it has a massive audience. Loki is very talked about. The Marvels, $45 million. Obviously, it's hugely disappointing, but most movies don't make that when they release. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see this all recalibrate, how the ripple effect that this has on future projects. I really the one thing I hope it doesn't affect is these characters being used in future projects, because these characters are undeniably fun and great, and their dynamic together was hands down the thing that worked more than anything else in the movie for me.
I want to shout out V-Spark in the comments reminding us that Twitter's not a real place because we do see the worst of it. And we know more than anything that that Twitter is not the end all be all of opinions and everything. It's just that because of our jobs, we have to be immersed in it. And they're so right. If we were to climb out into the real world, it's not nearly as bad as what we're seeing in terms of sexism and all this hate and everything like that. So thank you for that reminder. It's good to remember.
I can't emphasize that enough. I have had to put Twitter away to go live my life in ways that I don't even feel comfortable talking about on the show because I have I don't like social media. It's an asset for work. I really enjoy connecting with people and being able to bring some joy to people. But at the same time, there's a level of toxicity and things that people will say to you and about you that, or about anything that you like, or just things that exist that are just awful and bullshit. And it's just like, well, you got to put the phone down and remember you can go outside. The world's still there. The sun's still up. And the world you can actually control your actual world a bit if you just get off of it. So anyway, that's our little soapbox for today's Phase Zero, I guess. I hope everybody can put their phone down and have a good time now that you've listened to the show, especially. Thanks for riding with us this far. Anything else you guys want to say about the Marvels before we wrap up this part of the conversation?
Don't we want to make an announcement, Beatty?
Yeah, but I wanted to make sure if there's anything else about the Marvels. Neebs is here. Listen, we had our conversation. We ran way long on today's episode, so if there's anything about the Marvels we want to add, we're already late. So anything else?
Where do you think Kamala shows up next?
I don't know.
That's the thing. I have no idea.
In a dream scenario, you fast track a season 2 of her show, but I don't know if that is the scenario that we're in. But I don't know.
I do think she's going to be in the zombie episode, so that's probably where we'll see her next.
Oh, but that better happen to my girl. What? No. Oh, no.
I think that at Comic-Con there's a chance that we learn that the MCU is changing its plans. And there is going to be Avengers projects that may not be Kang Dynasty. I think that Young Avengers could be one. I think an Avengers movie before Secret Wars could be one. And I do think that a Young Avengers TV show would probably freaking slap. It'd be awesome if you can pull that off. And I think the Avengers movies are kind of the secret sauce that the MCU is missing right now. Because the number one thing I complain about, despite enjoying all the projects individually, at least in some way or another, is that the connective through line just isn't there. So I think those Avengers movies that make sure that remind you, these people are all in the same space. It's not just a Kingo poster in the background. They actually can meet. They can tackle problems together. If Phase 4 had culminated with Avengers Secret Invasion, or it had been the Marvels Secret Invasion, led by these 3 characters, surrounded by everybody else in kind of a Captain America Civil War type of way, that would have been a crazy event. That would have really, I think, reinvigorated a love for what's going on and an appreciation and a patience. I know I'm not one for tremendous patience. Sorry, Cap. But I think that those sort of events that tie everything together will go a long way. And I do hope if they are going to rework this in any way, that is something they plan to do. But that's okay. That's all I got to say about that. I talked too much. I said it before the show, and I can't even shut up now. Jeez. All right. We have an announcement. This Friday, bonus episode of Phase Zero, Jenna and I are going to be interviewing none other than, Jenna, do the honors.
Iman Vellani.
Yeah!
Woo!
Miss
Tell her I
Marvel
said
herself
hi.
is going to be on the bonus episode of Phase Zero. We're going to dive into the show. We're going to talk about the series. We're going to talk about the movie. And if anybody has any questions for Iman Vellani, probably the only person who could come on this show who could arguably be a bigger Marvel fan than any of us, it's happening. Honestly, she should just be an honorary co-host.
Seriously.
I'd allow it. All right, y'all. So thank you so much for supporting Phase Zero and getting us to this point where we're able to pull that off. Very, very grateful for that. Jamie, any last words for today's show?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of stuff. Last week I interviewed a lot of cool people at the Box Lunch Holiday Special. So look for that on the site. David Harbour, I guess, didn't know that we know that Harrison Ford's in Thunderbolts, and he did not know how to react when I asked about it. And I was like, "No, it's okay. We know." He's like, "I don't think we know," and it was pretty cute. And then my Wish interviews are now up, and I'll be writing about those today. But Chris Pine, I asked him about Marvel and DC. That was a mistake. But I asked Ariana DeBose about Craven, and she had a really fun reaction. She told me she wants to fight Andrew Garfield. So a lot of cool stuff. Keep an eye out for all of that business.
The most justifiable reasons to have missed the Loki finale when it aired.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so
What-
sad to
what-
miss you guys. It would have been a fun recap too, because I could have just said the same things over and over again.
But what a night you had. Awesome stuff.
Yes.
Great work. Jenna?
It's at Hey It's Jenna Lynn on social media. As always, go read some comics and tune into our interview on Friday. And go watch Jamie's Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes coverage, because I am very excited for that movie. Jamie and I have been texting about as I've been reading and finishing the book. So go watch that and go watch that movie.
Aaron?
It's at Something Like Corner on Twitter. Thank you guys for watching all the stuff. Super successful week. We love connecting with you guys. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do about the holidays now because what if, but we'll let y'all know.
No days off.
I also want to thank Green Path Comics for setting me up with the comic that I read with the director of the Marvels. It's Captain Marvel Assault on Eden #1. There's MCU variant. You know how hard it was to find a freaking comic with the 3 of them on the front of this thing? It is so difficult. So thank you to Green Path. That was really nice of them.
Nice. Huge thanks to our special guest today, Neebs. We got to get you back on the show before too long. We can't have this long between Neebs appearances. We got to cut back on that. Neebs, dude, thank you for hanging with us. Any last words for today's episode of Phase Zero?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me, man. I am always available for you guys. I'll drop out of high school. I don't care what. Like, you guys are my Captain Marvel. Like, I love you guys, so I really, really appreciate that. And if anybody wants to follow me, it's at Watch with Neebs, and I have a podcast called Salam Nerds. Currently, we are doing Invincible, another show that's woke that people don't realize how woke it is. But if you definitely want to check us out, feel free to do so.
I highly recommend checking out Salam Nerds, everybody, because you just heard a little bit of the intelligence, the charisma, and the perspective that Neebs can bring to the conversation in today's episode. You get full episodes of that on Salam Nerds, so go check it out. Neebs, dude, you're the man. Thanks so much for hanging with us. I got to wrap this up. This has been a long show. We'll see you on Friday with Aman Vellani. Subscribe to the Phase Zero channel on YouTube. Huge thanks for our record-breaking Friday. And have a good weekend, everybody. Play our show for your mom. Play it for your dog. Anything to get that +1 on the view count, the audio download. And we love you for it. See you there.